Bitch, this you?
Was poppin'. Welcome to Nikki and Moose. I'm Nikki. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And welcome to the live show. And of course, I had brain fart. Look at that. This live show is. Why is Jada calling me? Shout out to Jada. This live show is sponsored by episode 118 that came out today. Live with Dr. Eric Thomas, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. That came out today, the audio experience. So go check that out. Happy New Year, everybody. I don't know how long we're supposed to continue to say Happy New Year, but Happy New Year. You know what I mean? Moose, how was your New Year?
Man, New Year was pretty good. You know, big living room vibes, big living room energy, and it was good. I think that's the best way to do it. We almost unanimously as a family decided that no more going out on New Year's for us. It's going to be living room vibes for a while. Probably invite more people. It's the safer thing to do. So, but no, things were great, man. Things were great. I'm excited for it. And yeah, I'm thinking we got to set a deadline on the New Year vibe. Like we're going to only wish people Happy New Year until like January 15th. And then after that, all right, let's get back to business.
Only January 15th?
Yeah, I'm thinking that's fair.
I still think that's long. I still think that's long.
Yeah? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I still think that's long.
Some people drag it, though. Some people gonna go till the first time I see you. It's like, hey, listen, if it's the first time I see you this year, and it's like March 2nd, I'm saying, Happy New Year.
Like, no. I don't know. That's weird. That's weird. No. Yeah. We can't do that.
It's a lot.
Can't do that. But everybody, let us know what you did for the new year. Were you outside? Did you stay inside? Did you eat good? Just let us know. That whole nine. Moose, what are we talking about today?
Yeah, man, I thought, there's no better way to start off the year than revisiting something really important that makes a difference, especially when you talk about building a brand and one that connects with the people versus one that essentially has to work harder. They have to spend more money. They have to do maybe double the work that a good brand is doing just because they're missing this one key element. And so when I was thinking about good brands, ones that we have a positive relationship with, ones that inspire us, I think of brands like Nike. Right? They inspire you to just do it. They don't sell nothing through their marketing really or through their advertising for the most part. I should say more so their marketing, but they inspire you. When you see a Nike commercial, you feel like you should get your butt off the couch and go work out, even if you just finished working out. It just feels like it's the right thing to do. When you look at something like Apple, right? When they're doing some of their product releases or some of their commercials that you see, it's just clean, good brands that make you feel something and want you to do something once you watch their, promos or commercials. I think of, again, E.T., someone who we had on the podcast today. When you watch any of his messaging, it makes you feel something. And so I thought about this and I was like, the difference when you really study the difference between a good brand and one that is not hitting the mark is that the good brands all share this one thing in common, which is they're very aware of what their brand personality is, right? It's the identity of their brand. They know exactly what tone or emotions they want to elicit or they want you to feel when you get in touch with their product or service, so that over time that becomes a consistent emotion or a consistent connection that you have being from the perspective of an audience member with that specific brand. So I was thinking about it. I said, man, so how can someone who is just getting started or someone who is looking for ways to level up in the new year, what are some things that they might want to start to think about so that they can craft an identity or a personality for their brand? Right? I think of some questions like, hey, do you want your brand to be more personal meaning that you're given an inside look into what the behind the scenes of your life is. You want people to know your family and your wife and your kids and your sisters and all these people. Or do you want more of a professional, more polished look, one that people don't have much access to you, but that's a part of your identity? So just different things like that, Nix, that I think ultimately start to craft what type of connection the audience is going to have with you. And so I'm curious, man, especially from your perspective. And, as I was thinking about this, I was like, yo, what's so funny is that for the most part, you're not someone who shares a lot about your, say, personal life, but everyone feels like they know you. I was like, yo, there's something about the way you've crafted your identity with your audience or just around your brand that everyone feels that comfort to say, oh, I don't know much, but I know I can always ask Nix and she'll tell us the truth, or she'll tell us exactly what's happening. Where me on the flip side, you're not going to get much. I mean, it's going to take a while for you to learn something, which as I think about it, it's in line with my identity and my personality. And ultimately, it's becoming a part of what my brand's personality and identity is as well. So it's cool, right, to take some of those elements of who you are and put them into your brand. But yeah, just wanted to kind of get your take on that, for those who are just starting or have maybe had a brand for a while, but they're looking for better ways to have a connection with people. What can they do, or what can they start thinking to themselves about the identity of their brand so that they can easily or more easily connect with people in the marketplace?
I think it goes to just having a personal touch, right? It's in just like how you mentioned, like, I'm a public-private person, right? Yeah. That's how I categorize myself, a public-private person. Very out there. You see me, the content's everywhere. I'm for the people, but from a understanding my personal life, unless I am asked or I feel that I need to release certain information, you don't really know about that, right? And I do that because I am a private person. But just because you're private doesn't mean you can't create a deep connection with your audience, right? There's still an energy you have to give, regardless if you are the people person or you're more of an introvert. There's still a high vibration that you can give that people will appreciate, right? And it's funny because I was at the dealership today and I realized that I must have this like on my forehead. Please tell me your life story, right? I was like, I don't know if you like gaze in my eyes and it just looks warm and fuzzy. I feel like telling you everything, right? But I'm at the dealership trying to get my car back, and my man is telling me about the challenges he has, he's about to do for the new year, and his obstacles and everything like that. And I'm like, what? How did we get here? How did we get here? Right. But I understand that though I didn't ask, hey, how are you? People feel, yo, I rock with, like, if I see you one time, I rock with you. And so it's figuring out within your content, within your brand messaging, and just your visual appearance online of how can I, if you want to be this way, to set the boundaries of I'm not trying to give out my whole personal life. How do I still create that togetherness, that warm and fuzzy, as if I'm that person that you kind of lean to or you come to, and that whole nine for this particular source of information or this particular niche, or they just feel close to you, but without always revealing what's happening in your life. Now, if you do want to do that, by all means, I'm fully supportive of it. I follow a few accounts that like I'm totally engulfed in their life because they, that's their brand, right? And
Yeah.
it does get people closer as like, yo, that Me Too situation, like in a positive way, not in a negative way. But like that positive Me Too situation, like I've been through that. I could relate to that. Yo, I dealt with that a few years ago. I understand it, right? And so that brings people closer to where whatever they're possibly selling or wanting you to do, you'll probably do it because you truly support it, right? You truly support them. And that's the whole point of, finding that balance of what do I want to put out online, but as well as what do I want to keep to myself? And how do I still make the people feel close to me and feel as if they are a part of the things that I'm doing or that I'm approachable? Because the approachability is so crucial nowadays, because the way social media is, it seems out of reach. Like, oh, you're not approachable. You're not, like, I can't hit you up. You see, either don't seem approachable or you seem like the lifestyle is too up there and I feel like my level is low compared to what I'm looking at, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you are creating a brand that, regardless of the level that the people are on, that it's welcomed, then it's like, okay, I feel close to you. I can connect to you. So it's kind of just the energy and the balance that you have with your presence.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. I love that. And folks, if you're listening to this, man, and getting any kind of value, please share this with a couple of people. Mama Nick said we got to let y'all know to share and make sure you hit that like, and is it the tip the creator button as well? Is
Oh,
that is that
hit the super chat, right?
super
Hit
chat?
super chat, or super thanks if you're watching the replay. Super thanks or super chat if you're watching this live. It's like tipping
Yeah.
the creator.
Yeah, come on. You know what I'm saying? We gotta make sure we just get that out the way. I like these some of these comments in the chat though. Someone said, Erica said, I was just thinking while watching that I'd like to know more about Moose the man. And then Moose is more personable on his lives. Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you get that impression. I went live. You saw that. I think you got
I
on
saw
for a
that.
couple minutes.
I was
Yeah.
shocked.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think the
yeah. I
world
was like,
stopped.
for a couple minutes, I was like, yo, I'm gonna go hang out on live for a little bit. So yeah, it felt good. I'm probably gonna do more of that. But one of the things, man, that I think we all can really learn from this and do something with it is that always remember that we're going to attract who we are. Just naturally, we're always going to attract those who are like us. And so I know for me, one of the reasons why I am a lot more careful with what I share, it's not that I don't want people to know about my business, or I'm not, say, someone who is vulnerable or doesn't mind sharing about my experiences. It's just that I want to do it on my terms. It's a timing thing. Some things feel that they're too early. And there's another part of it too, where most times I would say I downplay a lot of what happens in my own life. I think growing up, that was my natural instinct into just surviving, because when everything is happening around you and you feel like you can't control anything, you just naturally feel that the only way to survive is to just downplay everything that's happening so that you can survive and keep going, right? So for me, I know those are my main two things. But today I always think about, I want to be able to control my narrative. And I talk about what happened when I first started sharing my story publicly online, and it got picked up by CNN and some other news outlets. And I saw what happened when I gave them the power to take my story and they narrated or added a voiceover over the footage of my story. I lost all power. I was
Yeah,
like,
that's trash.
wait a second. I didn't say that. As a matter of fact, I wanted to highlight this part more than that part. But that's when it showed me that when you're online and you're building a brand, yes, you want to share parts of your story, especially those experiences that you know everyone connects with, right? Like I think everyone, to some extent, maybe some more than others, but everyone cares what other people think about them. I think everyone, to some extent, has dealt with some level of fear or overthinking, right? They're just common human traits and characteristics that we all deal with as we grow and develop. And so if you can identify those parts of your story, and once you overcome them, you you've found ways to deal with them, that's the best time to share with it. Because I think about what's the difference between a narrative or someone's story who we hear and we feel like, oh man, that sucks. Like it sounds like a terrible story. Someone's story who we hear, and on the flip side of it, you feel empowered to do something. Typically, the difference is because one person is telling you their story from a standpoint of overcoming versus someone who's telling you their story and they're still in the midst of the trial. It's like
That's
they're
good.
almost expressing out of, oh man, like I'm so frustrated, I just need someone to vent to, versus someone who's gone through it, found ways to deal with it and mastered it. And it's like, hey, I just came from this side. Let me tell you what you should do if you're dealing with it so you can overcome it too. And I've made both mistakes. So just know that as you're thinking about how do I develop an identity for my own brand, keep those things in mind. Number one, people are always going to connect with those who are like them. We're naturally going to attract those who are like us. Number two, as you're sharing, yes, because we talk about the power of vulnerability, you want to be mindful to not say, just bleed on people. Like, oh, yeah, they said I got to be vulnerable, so I'm about to tell you about all of my business. You want to share the parts of your story that you've overcome. And it's okay to also tell people like, hey, I'll talk on this, but I'm actively working through it. So I don't want to kind of speak to it or I don't know that part of it. So let me get you the information and come back. And I love that because to your point, Nix, it almost puts you on a level playing field with you and your audience because you're telling them, hey, I'm learning. I don't know everything, but let me just tell you where I'm at least. And so start to think about some of the traits and characteristics that make up your own personality, right? You as a person, and see which ones come the most natural to you, because from those you can develop an identity for your brand. So if you're someone who's naturally, say, friendly and outgoing, then what elements can you infuse into your brand to make it more friendly and outgoing? What colors can you use? What types of music can you use, in your videos or in parts of your content? If your brand is more, say, exclusive, it's very luxurious, it's only for a certain select group of people, then there are other things that you can do also in that sense where you're raising people's curiosity, but it's not open to the public. Like it's intended to make people say, I wonder what that is. And you're not upset that it's not for everybody. So I think a lot of times too, our brand identity comes from our own personality and knowing some of those traits and characteristics that we can infuse in there.
So, what is your thoughts on? Because it sounded as if you frowned upon, not frown, but I don't know another word right now. On the people that may be going through stuff, and then go on social media to kind of dump it out on everybody, right? I think my question is, but what if they do it from a standpoint of that's their way of reaching out, and then the feedback of what they receive from their post or their live or whatever had really helped them based off what they were going through?
Mm-hmm. It can be. It can be. And I mean, look, a lot of times you can you can gauge people's response to figure out if you're on the right track or not. I mean, we talk a lot, and I always say one of the things that I've appreciated and learned from you is the concept of being to actively test your messaging to see how people will respond to it. And so if that's somebody's way of, say, coping or approaching what they're feeling currently, then by all means, especially if it's working for them and they say they feel good at it, I think the greatest measure of anything is the results that is producing for you. And so if what you're doing is getting you outcomes that you're satisfied and happy with, then don't change. You can tell people to just mind their own business. But if the results that you are getting in your life, they're not what you are satisfied with, then you have to make a change. And so for me, I'll never forget, it was actually recent. It happened over the summer. I was talking with someone at a small gathering and I was saying, man, your story is so powerful. You should share more about what you're going through. And he said, I definitely intend to do so, but I'm waiting until I can overcome it completely. Now, again, my natural reaction is to be like, well, the point is to talk about the process. But I also appreciated his perspective of saying, hey, I don't know. Our definitions of overcoming completely can be different, right? Somebody may believe that that's a possibility. I may believe that maybe overcoming something completely is not a reality. You might overcome it 70% of the way, and that feels like completely. But I did appreciate the fact of like, that makes sense. Next time when I get an idea or something that I want to share, I shouldn't just rush to put it out there. I should take my time to think it through and really figure out, have I gotten on the other side of this? Am I teaching from a place of empowerment, or am I sharing from a place of empowerment so I can pull others out of that situation? Or am I just sharing just for the sake of sharing? That's, both of those things really have a different perspective to them.
That makes sense. I just wanted your take on that. That's it.
No, for sure. No, for sure. For sure. I pulled up some questions here that talk about, other elements that go into a brand's identity or personality. And so maybe you have answers or come up with answers for these, or can help, others who are listening on how to come across their own things, right? But, one of the questions is, how does your brand's personality align with the target audience's values and interest? Almost in the sense of figuring out, it's like reverse engineering in a sense, right? What do the people I serve care about? What are their values and their interests? And how am I creating elements in my brand so that can be attractive to those who care about those things, right?
Well, I think that understanding first and foremost what your audience needs is going to help tremendously with your brand message and your brand identity, right? You first and foremost have to identify who you're speaking to and pretty much their pain points, right? Why would they even look at your brand? By understanding that, it's going to allow you to understand certain keywords, certain language that you can now put into your copy, put into your captions, and put into your videos that specifically speak on their values and their beliefs based off the research that you do and what you do, right? So as long as you understand the audience and you've done enough research, it's not uncommon to kind of form a certain brand personality that will connect with your audience, because that's what you want to do. That doesn't take away from who you are, because you have to understand the foundation of why I'm creating this brand and what do I do different than the whole entire world in my niche. So that doesn't negate from who you are and the foundation. But in order to truly be successful, you have to understand the language of your audience. You have to understand the beliefs and the values of your audience so they can feel as if you care about that. And they can feel that you are there for their intentions and not for yours. So I do think it's important and definitely a key tip to take what they value and what they believe and kind of like merge it into what you do as a brand.
Yeah. That's real. That's real. I got distracted slightly. The hat has a hat on. I love that. I just noticed the logo on your hat. That makes sense. I like it. It said the hat has a hat on. That's dope. Yeah. One of the things I was thinking about too, and I know that CJ is a big advocate of this. But as important as it is to find common ground, meaning building your brand identity to have common ground with the audience that you want to serve and connect with, I think it's also important to uh, be different
Mm-hmm.
than what is commonly or usually expected around a brand that serves that particular demographic or even industry, right? Because you start to blend into what everyone else is doing or expects out of you. So I love and I know that you speak on this a little bit as well, but this concept of the not doing. Like,
Yeah.
okay, while there are, and the way I translate it, right, is while there are industry best standards, things that pretty much is fundamental and easily recognized across all industries, it's also important to differentiate yourself from what is commonly happening, especially when it's something that is needed but not available. I think that's one of the easiest ways to also distinguish yourself and saying, okay, what's not happening here? Right. So one of the things that I've been spending my time on, quite honestly, especially when thinking of, and you and I shared a quick text on this earlier about marketing for extreme execution in the flight assessment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about it not from the sense of information about people and or a tool that helps you with communication, but I'm thinking about it from, okay, what are other, say, tech and assessment companies out there in the market doing, and what are they not doing? And is there a way to bring the two elements together to create a new marketing lane? Right? It's like, almost think about it as memes and self-development had a baby. They would create this type of marketing, which is like a
What?
really funny yet down to earth way of teaching people about themselves or giving them tips and strategies to just self-identify and realize something within themselves that existed for as long as they can remember, but they just never acknowledged it or they never actively noticed it. And so that for me is kind of how I think about practicing the not doing or what's not being done to create a new type of content, at least one that feels new to me, to attract people's attention and say, hey, this is similar, but it's different, right? It's that attempt at trying to do the not doing.
I agree. Did you freeze?
It looks like I froze. I don't know why I froze, but I'm very live on here.
If y'all see Moose frozen but happy, type in one. Type in one if you see Moose frozen but happy. You know what I mean? Oh, there he is. There you are, buddy.
I
Hello.
was live the whole time. It was so weird.
Yeah, that totally made me lost my train of thought. Man, where were we? Okay, say something last.
No, elements around the not doing.
Thank you. Okay. So, yeah, because I was really intrigued how happy you looked. So, it's really important to understand the gap, right? And what I think we get very caught up is and I look at it more as the foundation of what's already out there, right? When we're looking at thought leaders, competitors, other people who are doing things, and everybody who's out there in our niche, in our market, and they're being successful, that's just the foundation. And we have to make sure, yes, that is part of our strategy from a branding standpoint, from a content standpoint. We have to make sure certain elements are the foundation of it, but there still is certain things that we have to show out and show like, yo, this makes us different. Like you could go over here, but right here, we do it this way. And we do it this way because no one else is doing that. So, but what it happens in the beginning is that we get very caught up in the foundation phase. And because we see a bit of success in the foundation phase, we stay there. because we're like, yo, we're getting, clicks, traffic, conversions. We're getting a bit of money now. Like, it's working. If I do what these people are doing, and there's the blueprint of how to do it, I can make some coins, probably more than what I did before. I could probably get the numbers and the engagement that I needed than I did before. The problem with that is that you stay right there. And the brands that stand out is the ones that like fulfill the gaps. It's understanding the foundation, but adding your swag to it. Understanding what is already out there, but what is also missing. Because what's missing is what's going to help us stand out. Now, it will take a minute, meaning there is going to be kind of an educational gap with the audience because they've never seen that, or they've never heard it in that certain kind of way, or it's never been solved in this kind of way. But they know they need it, so they're paying a bit of attention, right? So when you are fulfilling the gaps in your market and your niche, you have to understand that just because you have that solution, just because you have that unique style, doesn't mean it's going to click right away. So how are we educating the audience of, here's the foundation, here's the market. Now, this is what you need to do in order to create these results that you want. I know you want A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I know this has bothered you in an internal way like this. I know your mindset is in this kind of way. The thing I need you to do is try this. The thing I need you to understand is look at this. Like, you are guiding them to understand the unique way that you do it and to accept it, because there's just a group of people that does not accept change. They stay where they stay, especially if the foundation is strong. You have to be like, I'm going to educate you and guide you through this whole thing, right? So even with how, certain real estate people, like certain people brand themselves right now, they see that, okay, just showing the house isn't cutting it no more. Showing the house, pictures, sale sign, that ain't it. But if I did, I got this phone, I got this gimbal, I feel like really fast cuts are going to kill it. Boom, 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 boom. I could do that. Plus, I'm going to do a voiceover on top of that, because everybody's now doing the cuts. I could do a voiceover and break down the different features and amenities. Boom. And how you could be approved being a black and brown individual living in this particular area. You feel me? So like, it's seeing what people are doing, and how do you elevate that? How do you elevate the foundation, and how do you continue to educate the audience in how unique you are, so it'd be easier to convert into a follower. It could be easier to convert into a loyal fan. It could be easier to convert into a paying customer or client. So that's what I
say. That's dope. And it's
you
funny because you talk about I don't know. I'm gonna just keep
now
talking.
You look
Can
serious.
you hear me though?
Yeah, we can hear you. You just look so serious. There you go. You look so serious.
I froze on serious this time. There you go. I froze on happy again. I don't know what's happening today, but I was gonna say, man, it's funny you mentioned the real estate stuff, or just thinking outside of the box with that, because legit, some of those reels on Instagram had me wanting to buy a house in Texas. You see?
Oh my God, Texas! Let's talk about it, because whoever the real estate agents are in Texas. They got that making everybody want to move to Texas.
They had me. I'm not going to lie. I was like, yo, some of these houses make you want to throw everything away and just say, oh, I can get that for 200 or 300,000 in Texas. So yeah, off topic, but just wanted to say for sure. And, I want to ask you this, man. And as we get shorter or closer to the end on time here, I was literally thinking about how much growth you had last year. I was like, yo, that's crazy. I think you more than doubled your follower account last year. Am I right on that?
Yeah.
You went from like 50 to 100 plus, right?
Yep.
And somebody might have paid close attention. Somebody might have not paid close attention. That frozen pic of me looks crazy. My
It
goodness.
does. It's bad. Everybody
But
say hi to the frozen picture of Moose. I mean, there he is. There
yeah,
he is.
yeah. But the thing that a lot of people probably didn't notice is how many cycles you had to almost change and keep up with, right? Because as we talk about the not doing, and here's where I want to make the connection, and I want you to just talk about maybe some of the things that you did throughout that time period. When we talk about the not doing, what is actually happening is you recognizing a gap and taking a risk to say, you know what? I'm going to put myself out there because I know that this is not being done. And sure enough, I'm going to see how it goes, right? Like there's a level of risk that's tied to it. So I'm just saying, like, I'm sure with the growth that you had last year, that didn't just happen by doing what's common. There was a lot of, oh, reels are popping right now. Oh, reels are not. The Instagram algorithm is going crazy right now. So there's like a lot of changes that happened throughout that entire time period. So I was like, yo, I don't know that you've ever actually spoke about that. Like, okay, here's what happened here, and here's what I did at this point, and here's what I did there. But share some of those on that.
I got you. You're back. Look at you back. Okay. So yes, once Reels like popped off, like when it first came out, I was really heavy on it. And I understood that, because just understanding that, Instagram is trying to battle with TikTok, and, the vertical videos is the way to go. You know what? Let's put all the energy towards that, right? So I think it was like maybe 2 reels a day or something, or at least bare minimum once a day, where people were probably doing it once or twice a week at the time. And it blew up my account probably about, I would say, like 10,000 followers in the beginning, because that's the whole point of jumping on these trends early. Jumping on different features early is when you are really going to see the results, right? When something new happens on a platform, you want to jump on it as quick as you can. When we're looking at YouTube Shorts, are booming, and still right now it's still very early for people to jump on YouTube Shorts, and you're seeing a good amount of views and subscribers with certain shorts that you do. Facebook Reels is now starting to get some traction, right? Everybody's competing for the attention. If you stay very close to understanding the platform that you are committing to, for me that was Instagram, then I'm going to go with the wave of let's do that, which got a lot of attention from a lot of people, because when you do these different features, it puts you in the explore or discovery page of that particular platform, which then expands your reach to whole new people, and that will likely to convert to followers. And then people who you didn't think would follow you now follows you, getting you on different platforms, hopefully, that can increase your audience even more, right? So when you stay true and committed to a platform and understand it, to a sense, I'm not asking you to be like a whole social media person, but if you're committed to something, you still have to pay certain attention and details to certain things. You stay on course with it, your reach is going to increase, guaranteed.
Yeah.
It may not be that feature, but it may be the next feature. It may not be this feature, but it may be that feature. Like, you have to try and be okay with sometimes it doesn't hit as well as maybe other things or maybe other people, right? So for me, it was understanding the platform, seeing that Reels was their new focus, and doubling down on that, which then increased my audience to where I got on certain platforms like EYL and stuff like that, based off not who I worked with, but based off the content that I was putting out. And you couldn't ignore the stuff that was out there, that you had to look up who I was. So
That's fire. That's fire. Yeah, because I was thinking about it today, and I was like, okay, we got to talk about this a little bit more. Like I was like, man, and I don't know. Y'all let me know in the comments. Would something like, say, a topic like how to get your first 1,000 followers. And I know this may seem like a very vanity metric type topic, but numbers do matter at the end of the day. There are things that you have to do to produce the numbers nonetheless. So would topics like that interest you? How to get your first 1,000 followers on Instagram? How to get your first 10,000 followers on Instagram? How to get your first 100,000 on followers on? Because I don't know about the 100,000 followers, but Nikki could definitely talk on that. So yeah, y'all let me know in the comments if a topic like that would interest you, because I was thinking about just how some of these things intertwine, and I said, man, you can't do the not doing if you're not willing to expose yourself to some level of risk and embracing change or doing something that's not common out there. The reason why it falls under the category of a gap, it's because it's not being done. And so you will look a bit unorthodox in the beginning. To your point, just when a new feature rolls out, it's also weird a little bit, right? Because you have to put yourself out there while people are still maybe on the sidelines, like, ooh, I don't want to touch that. I don't know what's going to be accepted in this space. And so there's a balance of that. And ultimately, just to tie it back to the identity of your brand, one of the things that you have to think about when designing or making up your brand identity, you have to leave space in it for it to change, to develop, to grow, to progress, to adjust to whatever is happening in the marketplace, whether it be current events, new features on a platform, just things. I remember less than 2 years ago, you were looked at crazy if you recorded content in a vertical format, because it was like that it left you with the black bars. It wasn't accepted. Now, if you do anything but vertical video, it's like, that's average, like vertical, so that, just all of that to say, you have to be open to some level of change and the discomfort that comes with change if you're going to stay top of mind for a long time or consistently top of mind. So just some other things to keep in mind.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's a good combo, Moose. That's very good. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Thank you.
So do us a favor. If you got any kind of value from this, definitely hit the super chat. Shout out to those people who have hit the super chat. We see you. We love you. Or hit super thanks, whichever you feel like doing, right? That's supporting the channel. It keeps us going, right? Please, please, please. This is what I'm going to ask. There's a few things I'm going to ask. One, hit that like button so the algorithm can say, hey, Nikki and Moose Live is pretty dope. We like it. We're going to keep promoting it. So hit that like button. Two, can you please, 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 please take a screenshot of the episode, right? Of episode 118 with Dr. Eric Thomas, E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher. And can you share it on your stories? Can you text it to somebody? Can you, if you have an email list, can you blast it on your email list? Yo, this is fire. This is giving all the branding strategies, the business strategies we need from some of our favorite people. Like, can you do that for us? Because we want to make sure in 2023 that people are getting this information. We feel as if we are still like the secret that everybody needs, right?
Right.
The just that secret sauce. So please share this if you can. And that's it. New video drops 8 p.m. tomorrow. Shout out to Isaiah, who is our main editor for Nikki and Moose. Shout out to Dalton. Shout out to Abby as well. Moose, thank you.
Yeah, no, appreciate you. And shout out to everyone in the comments, man. A lot of great comments today. We appreciate you for engaging and interacting with us. Phenomenal conversation. And yeah, we'll see you back on the next one, man.
Yeah, and don't think I didn't see y'all. Shout out to Deeper Than the Brand. We see you in the building. You already know what we're going to say.
Peace, y'all.
I holla.